Hey everybody, it's Ranger Jason Bentley. I'm coming back to you to share another STEM video here for our Lessons from Lagan video series. Today I'm at the Erwin L. Davis Education Center, the main administration building for Genesee Intermediate School District. And we're doing our segment here today on periscopes. So, periscopes have to do with light, reflection, and angles. So there's a lot of science involved with just making a periscope, and these are pretty simple, basic periscopes. They get a lot more complicated when you're thinking of like a submarine. When you think of periscopes, everybody thinks of a submarine periscope. And that's a pretty complex periscope with different lenses and things. What I'm going to share with you in my lesson today is how to make a simple periscope just with using some envelopes, some tape, some glue, scissors, a template, of course, and some mirrors. So the final product that we're going to be making looks something like this. You can see there's mirrors in there. I can see the mirror in there by peeking through it. And just going to show you how to design something like this, and then the science behind it. That you're really looking to get out of the activity with your kids. And again, it has to do with light reflection and angles. So that's what we're making. What I'm sending home to you in a kit is going to be the file folders. Okay, these will be cut in half. You only need 1/2, so we'll already have that cut in half for you. That's really what we're making the body of the periscope out of, is this file folder. There's a template that you know that you'll get on how to cut and fold this so that you can make this design. So I'm going to send you one of those. You're going to want to glue that template down onto the file folder. So we're going to send you some glue stick, some extra tape to help hold it on, and then also the mirrors to be able to glue those in to use. And we're going to send you a pair of scissors so you can cut it out in case you don't have scissors, tape, or glue at home. We're going to send that to you in the kit as well. So check out the SMORE link with all of our information, and that will give you the info on how to reserve this material for your classroom. We're going to have enough to send out for a teacher to share with your class. Arrangements will be made in the reservation process for teachers to get this material. I will get the materials to you, and you can distribute that to your students. It's primarily for online learners right now. So if you're a teacher, all your students are online learning, you're eligible to apply for this. All the funding has been made available through the MySTEM network, here the local MySTEM network. So all the funding is covered, all the materials are purchased. I will get them to you. All you have to do is fill out the reservation form and follow the steps and reserve it. So, hey, why don't we get to it? Why don't we start looking into how to put this together, okay? Okay, so we're building a periscope here. That's the whole idea behind this activity, is making periscopes. And we've already shared the materials with you. And like I said, we start with a full folder. Well, I cut that in half. I have the templates that you glue onto your folder. So I have one ready to go here, as you can see. There's a piece of paper. I already took a glue stick and glued this down. And you want to make sure that you glue this very well around all the edges and all the way throughout. To make sure you get enough glue on there to hold it down, because once you start cutting this and folding this into place, you kind of need the template to stay on the folder so that you know what you're doing and it doesn't come off. So make sure you get plenty of good glue on there to hold in place. Press it down nice and evenly, and then just let it sit, walk away from it for 10 minutes or so until that glue really has a chance to set up, and then start cutting. So, 10 or 15 minutes, glue it down. 10 or 15 minutes later, then you can start cutting. This has been glued down for a while, so we're all set, ready to go. If you read the directions on your template, it says right here, cut along the solid lines. So it's hard to see from there, but on the template, there's dotted lines and there's solid lines. Your dotted lines are your folding lines, where you're going to bend it up and fold it into place to create your square, your box here. And then the solid lines are where you want to cut. All right. right, so we're just going to start working through this. I'm going to cut on my solid lines, and I'm going to leave my dotted lines alone for folding purposes. All right, so why don't we do this? Let's get this cut out. All right, some of these you got to really be careful when you're cutting along here. Yeah, some of the lines run a little deeper alongside of where the dotted lines are. So your solid lines where you're cutting, really pay attention to those because it's a little bit difficult to see. You definitely don't want to cut anything dotted, only solid. So when you're getting to these points, you just got to be a little bit careful that you don't cut into those dotted areas. And once you get onto the areas, you go all the way to the end of the paper. You'll see some of these lines on here just stick out a quarter or so inch, but really you can cut those off all the way to the outer edge of where your paper is. And then on the outside edge of your paper, you'll see you're gonna have excess folder hanging out over the edge of your paper. So you're just gonna use the edge of your paper and cut down along the outside edge of that paper. Cut that extra folder off of there. And then you'll see a little line sticking out again, just a quarter inch. You can go ahead and cut right into that from the outside edge of your paper. And then again, back here you're gonna see all these solid lines that you're gonna wanna cut off. Alright, that's pretty good. And you might have some little tabs of some loose ends of paper sticking there. That won't hurt anything. That's not going to come into effect. Okay. And then down here, the same thing. Where this long square, and this is kind of where your mirrors are going to go. These long squares here is where your mirror's at. But you'll see this little edge. You can just cut the end of that off of there too. So, all right. Now the trick is to fold it up in the right way, the right order. So I found that it was easier to use a straight edge to place on my dotted lines to be able to fold it, and you can use anything. I'm not sending a ruler or anything like that, but you can use the edge of your scissors and place that there and to fold it up against. You see, this is a dotted line that gets folded. So the end of my scissors are straight. I can just use that as like to push it against, okay? And to get a fold, and that was kind of good enough to get that folded into place just by pressing it up against the edge of those scissors. Or you may have a ruler laying around your house like this. I'm not going to send you a ruler, but you know, any straight edge that you have, you can place on there. It makes it easier to fold. You could use the hard spine of a hardback book, the back of a book spine. Not much. Even these extra file folders here, you know, I can place it underneath there and hold it and bend it up just enough to get it bent, so then I can fold that into place. Any rigid straight edge will do. So I'm going to stick with the ruler on mine. So you just go around here and all the dotted lines are areas that it gets folded over at. So just crease it, bend it up, get it ready for your fold. And then just keep kind of folding them down, get them marked. Once you get it folded up like that, they bend over pretty good, but I found that it really helps using some sort of rigid straight edge along there to at least start to get them bent up into place. Then once you got them creased, you can just fold them over pretty easily. One more. There. See, get your crease made and then it'll fold right over. Now it still looks kind of weird. You know, we've got all of our cuts made on the solid lines, all of our folds made on the dotted lines, but it's still, we're like, oh, how's this coming together? So we've got to start getting it bent into place and the edges and the corners all taped up. So you'll see once we bend it around, it's obviously going to start coming into the shape of a periscope. You know, we don't have this all taped up yet, but it's starting to look like our final product already. So the trick is to start getting these taped into place, okay? So I found you have your Scotch tape here. I'll get a bunch of pieces of Scotch tape ready to go, so I don't have to rip a piece off every time I want to tape. On the bottom, I found that the little short tabs should go on the outside, and the longer tab where the mirror is going to adhere to will go on the inside. So you can get those taped on. You can also glue these with your glue before you put tape on it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Before I put my tape on there, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna glue where I can get the glue on it prior to me taping it. I'm just gonna run a little bit of glue on the outside edge of that. It's gonna help hold it. So we got some glue there. Alright, so we'll just hold that, and this glue works pretty good. So just get some glue on there and squeeze it, and that'll hold that in place. And that's gonna make it easier for the tape to do its thing while the glue's holding it. So we got some tape there. And again, you can make this as detailed and as perfect as you'd like. You can slap it together and have it look messy. That doesn't matter, these are your own. You can make them the way that you want them. When you're finished, you can take some crayons or some paint, markers, and make some cool designs on there, some cool artwork. You can take other items and glue them to the outside, like if you want to sparkle it up and glue different sparkly things or stickers or anything on there. You can do artwork. You can go out in the woods and get some natural material, some vegetation or some sticks, and see if you can glue some sticks and leaves and stuff on her to make it camouflage. All kinds of things you can do with this. Again, if your template happens to start coming away from the cardboard like mine did, that's okay. My template glued in first, but now I had to come back and put another little strip of glue on there to hold the cardboard in place. When you get to this point, I find it helps if you squeeze the box together like this to help hold this edge into this edge. So just keep a little pressure on there. We have our glue in place. Now we're going to set it up with this tape. Okay, and again, I'm not being real fancy with this today. Just getting the tape on there to hold it. You can be as particular as you'd like to be to make this as perfect as you'd like it to be. And this is where I'm going to put a few extra pieces of tape. This is really the stress point where this whole thing could come apart. So I'm going to make sure this is taped up really well. Just put some extra tape on there to hold it. And that should do pretty good. It's not coming apart. All right. Okay, so we have the template all glued down, we have it cut out, we have it folded into place properly, we have it glued and taped and secured to make our periscope body of the whole periscope. The body's made, but it's not going to reflect anything in there without some sort of mirror, okay? So we have it set right that these are opposing 45-degree angles, but now we need to have a mirror reflection device in there to be able to do its thing. So, sending some mirrors home to you. Just slight caution, be careful with these. If you drop them, they will break, they'll crack. I have a couple little chips on the edge of mine right now. These were some old ones that I come across, but you want to glue these first before you slide them in there. And then if you need to put a couple little extra pieces of tape on the edge, you can. But I'm gonna glue these up, and I'm gonna put some ample amounts of glue on it. And don't be afraid to use this glue stick. And put that glue right on the back of that mirror. And if you can see, I'm really gonna load the back of the mirror up. The non-reflective side of the mirror will get glued down. You want to try to avoid getting glue all over the reflective side. And this is also another side trick here. Try to be careful once you have the glue on there. It's hard not to get the sticky glue on your fingers. Even for me, it's difficult. So try to pinch it by the edges and keep your sticky glue fingers off of the reflective side, because once it gets on there, then you have to let it dry, clean it up, wipe it up, because your mirror is going to get all smeary and cloudy, and you're not going to be able to see through it until you clean your mirror anyways. It's like having dirty windows, hard to see through. If you got a bunch of glue smeared all over your mirror, you're not going to be able to get that reflection. And this is a little tight with it going in here. These are designed, the template is designed for, and sometimes I'll grab just an extra piece of paper to put in there to keep my sticky fingers off that mirror. So here's just a piece of scrap paper from me cutting. I'm gonna set that on the mirror. I'm gonna press on that instead of putting my sticky fingers on the mirror side. But the template's designed for these 3x3 inch mirrors to go in there, and they do fit in there, but they're snug, okay? So if you're putting this together and you're like, oh, Ranger Jason, what'd you do? You mismeasured. No, they're the right size. That's what it's called for. And it calls for these little, 2-inch square mirrors, I believe they are. 5 centimeter by 5 centimeters. They fit in there, but it's snug. And luckily, this manila file folder material is relatively flexible, okay? So they'll fit. And you want to make sure your mirror goes all the way up into the corner on the inside of this corner. So the front of your mirror, like this, needs to go up all the way and fit up against that seam, which is kind of difficult to see, but you want to make sure it's slid all the way up in there and you don't have half of it hanging out. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a struggle for you, because the glue's not going to really hold it in place really well at first. So you may need to put some tape in there, and that's okay. Get a couple pieces of tape ready. I'm not going to put a bunch of tape on that. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on the very edge and wrap it around here to hold it in place, because I don't want to cover my mirror up with tape. But I'm going to put a couple of pieces right in the front edge of this to help hold it in there, okay? And I found that way worked pretty well and helped hold that mirror in. Now that's not going to come out anywhere. See, I even almost dropped it and it didn't fall out. That first mirror is not coming out. So you want to do the same thing with the other side, just like we did. Get your mirror all glued up. Nothing real fancy. It's a simple periscope using 2 mirrors on a single reflection, no multiple lenses or anything like that, like you would find in a modern submarine. Check out the links. Check out what I'm sharing with you. There's some books in there, some free online books, some ebooks that give you a lot of good literature about periscopes and the history of periscopes and what they've been used in throughout history. So check that out. And then see where you can have fun. And look at that, I can see the mirror. My eyes are focused way down here, but the camera that I'm looking at is way up here. So it's not a huge difference. It's only about a 7-inch rise that we're looking, but you could extend this and make this as long as you want. As long as your mirrors are opposite of one another at 45-degree angles, I could make this 6 foot high, you know, and look out over top of something that was 6 foot above me, or look out around a corner of a building or out of your room. So it depends on how long the lengths are between the mirrors is how far you can see. Again, very simple design, but it's a cool periscope idea, and I'm interested to see what you guys can come up with on your own designs also. So it didn't take real long to put together, kind of fun. Decorate it up, see what kind of designs you can come with. So until we see each other again in our next video segment, thanks for watching. Check out all the other videos that we have on our S'more link and see if there's some other activities that you're interested in. If you have suggestions of things you'd like to see, email them to us. You can check out the link and send them to the Lagan Outdoor Center email and give us your ideas on what you'd like to see next. So thanks for watching. See you next time.